So the topic for today, basically, growing the essence of luxury and privilege, and diving deeper into the affluent consumer. So nobody better than the list of designers, brands that we have on our panel today to discuss this. Luxury as a segment in 2014, according to an Assocham report, in India was about $10 billion. And it's predicted to go all the way to 100 billion by 2020. Fashion has always been a key spending bucket, with Indians traveling more and more, growing richer before getting older. This segment is expected to boom. So we have a couple of pointers that we'd like to discuss, and I think let's dive right away into it. So I think it's important to start with. It's important to understand what has been the evolution of a luxury consumer. Where they've started. 10 years ago, it was a very different consumer from what it is today. So I would like to start by getting inputs from Ms. Neeta Lola, because she's a veteran designer. She's been in the industry for a very long time. So, ma'am.
Very good evening to all of you friends here. I think as designers and creative eccentrics sitting here, I wouldn't be able to give you dates and statistics and numbers like you started with, Sanjay. But yeah, in terms of where were we 10 years or 20 years back, when I started design in about 86, and where we are today, I think there's a lot of change. There's a lot of awareness that has grown over the years. There's a lot of spending power. So where a regular 1 lakh used to be, oh my God, that's the best you could do. Or probably at my time, 20,000 was the best couture outfit you could get. Today, the numbers go up from 10 to 15 to 25 lakhs, and people don't bat an eyelid. Where is all this coming from? The fact that initially there was not so much awareness of fashion and trends beyond the sensibilities that you saw on the big canvas that we call Bollywood and films. That created a huge aura of aspiration for the average consumer. People used to take photographs, go to their darzis and say, this is what I want. Then came the age of looking at films and realizing that there are certain people called designers who make these clothes, and we can get access to them. But that mid-80s, 87, I would say, Bollywood had a huge stigma, and people would come to you and say, I don't want a filmy outfit. But for them, luxury was that they could go to a Bollywood designer and say they want an outfit, but not a filmy outfit. And from then on, I think the influx of media, the strength of television, the advent of so many different social networking sites that came up gradually and slowly, created a platform for the consumer to realize what is luxury. Is it just the outfit that a film star is wearing, or is it something that is way beyond that? It's a design sensibility, it's a particular aspirational price point, it's fabrics, what is it? And that, in turn, I think, today has given rise to such fantastic platforms of being able to buy luxury, which has become a very super speciality segment. And the fact that today luxury is also available on sites like exclusively.com, and the fact that you can actually avail of luxury at arm's length with the regular stores that sell you branded clothes, whether it's international or Indian designers. So I think we've come a long way with that aspect of luxury. And the aspiration has grown because things are available at close reach. And why not? I mean, somebody next to you is wearing something fabulous and looking good and feeling good. And if you can spend and you want to spend the kind of money, why not just pick it up? Therefore, the fact that it's available at close reach makes it more accessible. And everybody's spending capacity has increased. the aspirations have increased, and I think that just gives rise to more and more luxury brands coming up. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you so much. It'll also be interesting to get the perspective of a brand which has an international brand which has come in and has a very functional appeal but has grown to more than that. Would love to hear Mr. Shogato's inputs on how Victorinox has progressed over time.
Uh,
Yeah.
Hi guys. Victorinox, about 132 years old. The makers of the original Swiss Army knives have been with the Swiss Army knives for the last about 100 years and then diversified into a lifestyle brand which has now travel gear, watches, apparel, and fragrances. I think there was a time about maybe 10 years back, 15 years back, when travel gear or luggage meant a VIP. Samsonite had not yet come in or was just making inroads into the Indian market. Since then, now we get to see, and yes, in watches we had only Titan, but post that, we've seen this evolution happen as far as the Indian consumer is concerned, where they aspire to own a certain luggage or a certain watch or a certain apparel. This, I think, has been it's the globalization, so to speak, which is to blame for this. We see our customers evolve from the VIPs and maybe the American touristers to a Victorinox now. They understand the heritage, they understand the legacy, they understand that they want to own, possess a piece of history. So I think for our brand, what we have seen over the years, last 10, 12 years that we've been in India, that it has always been year on year an upward trend for the acceptance of our brand, for the acceptance of the price points, and people aspiring to own or be a part of this history. Yeah.
Great. So to actually, I'd love to actually talk a little bit about how we see these trends and how are we becoming better at ensuring that we're better at predicting these trends. And one of the best schools for fashion in India is the National Institute of Fashion Technology. And today we have with us Mr. Tripathi, DG Mr. Who heads all of NIFT. We'd love to hear his thoughts on how he is building market research capabilities. What is NIFT doing about that to learn more and more about these trends?
Good evening. At NIFT, we are mandated to meet the manpower requirements of the industry. So we try to mimic the evolution of industry into the academic offerings that we have at our NIFT institutes. So consumer behavior, the evolution of the consumer, the demographics, the psychographics, they get embedded in our course curriculum. And we try to address to all the market segments for which our students would eventually be becoming part of. Besides that, through a craft cluster initiative that we run, we also try to bridge the gap between the art and crafts heritage which is there and the requirements of market. So again, that is another area which we specifically try to address. In sheer numbers, we have today 15 campuses and an annual intake of almost 3,000 students. Wow. So that way, we become a large player so far as this area of fashion education goes.
Great. And it's great to see that we have such a great institute in our country which continues to promote and push fashion and helps us in terms of bringing in new talent on a daily basis.
Actually, Siddhant, before we go ahead, we were very keen on getting everybody's thoughts going since there is such an August panel. So let me start from the left. And for everyone who's joining in or trickled in the moment you saw these spectacular faces on stage, what we're talking about is really luxury and fashion. So I want to get everybody's thoughts going. Maybe we can pass the mic on. And we heard a little bit from Neeta, but from all of you.
Well, to start with, being here is a big privilege. I'm absolutely driven by the fact of luxury and what India has to offer in the platform of fashion. I, by soul, by heart, as Neeta ma'am said, Bollywood plays a very important role. I'm a truck driver by heart. I love my Bollywood, and that's one of the major reasons why I decided to get into fashion, because of the art of cinema. And seeing them forecasting a trend, seeing them making raves, like a chiffon sari on the glaciers of Alaska. Who could think that? These stylists, these designers, they're the one who gave definition to Bollywood. Seeing them, what we thought a shirt and pant was luxury, seeing that, we think that is luxury. So the aspirational level is staged in a very picturesque manner through the stylists who do fantastic jobs to set trends. Like Neeta ma'am has defined Chandni for me as the white. Like, you can, first thing you close your eyes and think of Chandni and you think white. You think of Hamdal Dechake Sanam Devdas. All of these are trendsetters. And looking at that, we see a level of luxury that we want to aspire and we want to look like them, which looks expensive, traditional, very aspirational. So luxury in India has always been forefront, just that now it's taken the limelight. Now people know, people are aware of what's happening in the world. We are accessible over a click through Instagram, Twitter, all of these external factors. So our reach is very vast. Initially we were typographed to be very traditional in our approach, but now seeing the expansion of Indian designers on global runway is taking the world by storm. Look at Rahul Mishra, look at Manish Arora. They all are setting trends, and every eyeball right now all over the globe is on India. So we are changing the norms from being traditional and backward to being very forward and something which we can offer to international platform as terms of fashion. So this is what I think, and that's it.
Rocky, I don't know if we're all truck drivers by heart, but everyone has a connect with Bollywood. So tell us what you see as the luxe version.
Hi, everyone. I think we are from the country which has a heritage of luxury, you know, from, you can talk about the palaces and kings and queens and the fabrics we used to use at that time, the brocades, the silks. I think we are from the culture which believes in luxury from every angle. Of course, times have changed and Bollywood's changed a lot. People look up to Bollywood as fashion icons, and they do want to aspire as what the actors are wearing. They want to wear it. That's luxurious for them. Besides that, of course, there's a lot of luxury brands which have evolved since, I think, 3 to 5 years. Everybody understands luxury very well. It's acceptable, and I think it's easily accessible. If you just walk down the street, you will find something which is what you want, and it's luxurious. It's the state of mind. It can be even like just sitting in the pool, you feel luxurious. I think, you know, with online, like exclusively.com, we as designers get a platform to sell clothes which are luxurious. And for people to get it at a, you know, just press the button and you get it. And that's excellent, you know, so it's evolved a lot. There was a time where you could not get something like that. And now you can, like Neeta said, you know, you can reach out. So that's, I feel, has changed a lot.
Sure.
Hi. So I totally agree with Rocky. I was just going to say that luxury is actually, India is luxury. Luxury is relative, of course, because to a common man, what he thinks is luxury, to a more affluent person, something more will be luxurious. So luxury is relative. Luxuries are part of our heritage in India. The only difference today from the past in terms of luxury is the awareness, as we all talking about, which is obviously a byproduct of the digital space, which is what we are here to discuss about how are we dealing with luxury online. So to me, like a platform like, say, exclusively.com is giving an opportunity to an individual who is sitting in a space where he cannot access that luxury and making it more accessible. So I remember years back, like I think 5, 6 years back when exclusively.com launched, thinking that who is going to buy a $5,000 lehenga online? And thinking that how is this going to happen? You know, it's like the whole idea of buying something expensive is that I go to a brick and mortar store, I have this customer service, I have, touch and feel, I get to twirl in my lehenga, those kind of tangible things. So I think the real challenge, I mean, it's obvious that there is a huge understanding of luxury in India for several reasons. Like we said, digital, talking about disposable income at a young age, a really huge growing youth population. India is a very young country, apparently. I think 25. They say that each country has an age. So we have the fastest growing disposable income population in our country. So now how do you convert that person into your luxury shopper online? And to me, I think taking that experience of brick and mortar to the online space is something that we all need to expand luxury in a way that create beautiful boutiques online, get exceptional customer service, get your packaging to be luxurious when it reaches the customer. And that's my whole take on luxury online.
Neeta, we heard some of your thoughts, of course. Anything that you'd like to add, or we can move the baton along, so to speak?
Hi, everybody. So, like Payal said, I'll add to that India has always been there with luxury. They've always lived with luxury. Right from the time of our Maharajas, when shoes and jewelry were made bespoke to cater to their needs, right to, and today when India has so much luxury retail existing, there is so much exposure for the customer. The aspirations not remained aspiration only. They have the access to luxury finally. So they've come a long way from where we were to now where luxury is available, it is accessible. There is so much exposure, there is so much growth in the category. These brands have come and sustained themselves so beautifully in the country. And there are more and more growing every day. So the acceptance for luxury is also been tremendous. We've seen that all the high income groups have started spending more than 40% of their income in luxury, so which is tremendous. So the growth is only growing more and more. Not only with the high income groups, we see such a young generation who were probably not so exposed previously are contributing to nearly 55% of online sales, which is just amazing. So, I mean, I think that the market is just expanding in luxury. And in times to come where in our 30s, I think we still have that same experience of what our mothers told us to believe more in, the value of money. But today's generation is running more on impulse. And for them, they go and they convert that impulse and that aspiration into consumption. So I think the growth is just tremendous.
Yeah, I think we still worked with the spend and save phenomenon, but as someone pointed out, the new generation has a large disposable income, and much of that goes into spending on luxury items.
Yes.
We've heard from Shaugato and Mr. Tripathi. Let me get your thoughts in.
Good evening, everyone. I feel luxury is something that has added aspirational value to craftsmanship. I feel that it is something that, thanks to portals like exclusively.com, pieces that are made in the most discreet corners in the country by the most talented people are being selling somewhere in Australia, somewhere overseas, where it is really difficult for one to imagine of such crafts existing. So I think that is luxury to me. The possibility of acquiring and wearing something which is made by a unique talent in whichever part of the world. I think that is the most unique factor about luxury.
Good evening. I'm actually going to talk a little more about luxury in the beauty and cosmetic space, which is what I know better. I think if you have to look at the last 15 years and how India's evolved in this space, and you look at back in the day, you would think about getting a perfume at duty-free or from overseas, and that was the high income, high value product you would spend on the cosmetic or personal care space. Whereas today, you've got skincare, you've got hair care, you've got various kinds of products which everyone's spending a lot more than they used to. And it's not just about spending, it's about there is a value add, there is a particular ingredient benefit which will add to your personal appearance. If you think about it, I mean, on average, a man puts about 5 to 8 products on himself on a daily basis, and that's the lower end. And a lady would probably put 8 to 15, ranging from a lipstick to a body wash or whatever. And if you look at what's happened over the last 10 years is, one, there are a lot more brands enter the Indian market, so the exposure to brands is a lot more relevant. Local brands have come up with very specific products. I think people like Forest Essentials or Kaya or Skin Clinic have done some wonderful stuff on getting the right product into the market. And places, and obviously the digital market has helped this. 44% of luxury spend is potentially outside the metros. And
Sure.
how do you reach them? You can't reach them with physical stores. And places like Exclusively or any website which can reach them is what's helped the market open up. So it's a great time to be in this space. I mean, there's so much opportunity, and thankfully the digital world's helping it grow faster.
You're letting the cat out of the bag. 8 to 15 products. We just roll out of bed looking like this. Go ahead.
Hi, good evening. My name is Jaideep Khurana, and from True Mount Cosmeceutical. So I'm going to continue talking about the skincare, health, and beauty industry in India. I'll go back some 12 years, when I remember I was in Malaysia, and there was this conference about the raw material ingredients and all that. So I remember going to this stall where this German company had the raw materials displayed, and when they saw the batch, they saw, oh, it's a person from India. And they made a remark saying, Indian companies, they can't afford such expensive ingredients. And that's where the nail hit the coffin. And I said, okay, if that's the case, let's go back and see why is it that the Indian companies are compromising when it comes to the quality, efficacy, in terms of the research and development for the skincare industry. This was the decision that we took in the year 2003. We spent 7 years in doing our research. We ended up tying up with 2 labs based in France and Tokyo. And we rolled out in the year 2010. And that was the beginning of the luxury skincare products in India. Like you have the Forest Essentials and the other brands who today invest a lot in not only on packaging, but also on the quality of the product. So we follow the same principle, and we worked on the research. We got certifications, which probably makes us the 3rd brand in the world to have such certifications. Objective was very simple. We are looking at creating a brand. We are looking at being positioned as one of the luxurious brands in India. And platforms like Exclusively.com gave us that exposure. I mean, past 4 years, the digital marketing, the digital mediums that this country has created is just the tip of the iceberg. And I feel it's yet to grow. It's just the beginning. So it's an awesome platform to be with. Today you have people who are teenagers who have become bloggers, and they are contributing so much in terms of the brand awareness. So this is something that worked in our favor because people would buy the products, they would go online, talk about it, and mediums like Exclusively gave us platform to go and showcase what we guys have done. So, like we guys have been all talking, it's the upper middle class and the middle class who have a lot of disposable income today. People are not scared of giving it a shot. They are not... They want innovations. They want to see what's being innovated today in the beauty industry. And gone are the days, I feel, when the traditional luxury thoughts were to have just something which is very elegant. Today people want to give it a shot to many other things. You want something blink. So I think that's where the industry is heading. And it's very encouraging for entrepreneurs and the brands who focus on research and development, I feel. So that's what we guys do. Thanks.
Hi guys, My name is Rishi Seth, and I run a company called myenvybox.com. So everyone's talking about luxury, but let me start by saying the luxury industry in India is minuscule. You may get excited by it, but it is absolutely tiny. And what's exciting about India is, unlike the West and the rest of the world, where luxury's grown up in a brick-and-mortar environment, we will be the first ones really to experience luxury growth online. Our retail infrastructure, for lack of a better word, for luxury does not exist. It is pathetic. Which means guys like us who are working in the luxury space online, we have an insane opportunity to market for brands and create this market in India. Without online, luxury in India is not going anywhere, not anywhere soon. That's basically what I have to say.
I mean, luxury doesn't just mean grandeur these days, though, right? It's quirky, it's edgy. Tell us how much digital plays an influence in that.
Well, first of all, I want to say that luxury has gone mass. That's what's happened. In the earlier days, we had Maharajas ordering Louis Vuitton bags and, you know, wearing bespoke fabric. And those days are over. India is definitely a pioneer in luxury, but today it's available to literally everyone. You can enter at any price point. You know, you can pick up a keychain, you can pick up a pair of shoes, you can pick up just a dupatta, whatever you can offer. And I think that's because of the digital medium, which has created, you know, this awareness and this desire to want something. And you can be a part, even if you don't have an entire luxury lifestyle. You can, you know, enter somewhere and keep growing with it. So yeah, I think the digital medium is absolutely amazing and everyone should be on it. I mean, honestly, even if you have a small Twitter account or something, it just creates, it gives you so much knowledge, it gives you so much information, and it's changed the world. It's, you know, from the bloggers that was spoken about to, you know, stylists to literally, you know, the magazines, everyone.
Instagram, Twitter, all of it, right?
Totally, yeah. So, but I keep thinking, what's the next big thing? You know, we've seen the bloggers, we've seen celebrities wearing clothes, we've seen people, you know, aspire to become like them. But did we predict the bloggers? No, they just arrived, right? So I think it would be interesting to know where we're headed now, because it's moving on such a fast pace. We had Fashion Week 16 years ago, I think. The first Fashion Week. So India is, and 16 years ago was when, you know, the first luxury magazine was launched, the first Louis Vuitton store came into India, you know, the designers were born. So I really think it would be interesting to just think ahead, because things move really fast. Literally, I would say it changes every day. So that's a good question to leave you with.
Gail, you might have had the opportunity to look at diverse markets. Does luxury mean different things in different areas of the world?
I think it's really something that's, you know, like personal to each culture, because, you know, like the main point, and even earlier on, was, you know, product quality, traditions. You know, like if you look at a brand like a Louis Vuitton, like a Hermes, where bags are really still handmade. But in India in particular, what I've noticed is that over the past couple of years, you know, like most people buying luxury would know about the different brands because they had traveled abroad, you know, like they would have bought that in duty free or when they were traveling in the UK or in the US. But now even the youngest generation are extremely aware about all the different brands, as well as they are very storytelling conscious due to social media. That's something that we see in a lot of markets as well. You know, like it's the same thing in the US, it's the same thing in the UK. But what like younger Indian consumer wants definitely is to have, in terms of beauty, something that suits their skin. And that also goes with the content related to that online.
And now you have the easy task of adding all that up and telling us what you make of it.
I'll try to keep it brief. I'm sure people have heard too much from me today. But first of all, I wanted to say I'm terribly honored and feel very privileged that many of these very talented, visionary designers decided to come on board on exclusively at a time when no one else would. Payal, in fact, was our first designer, and she helped pave the way to add legitimacy and credibility to what we were doing, and then obviously have built the business from there. So I think, thank you very much for that. I don't want to talk too much. Ultimately, at the end of the day, one of the reasons why I started the business and was simply that I like fashion and I couldn't access fashion, upper premium luxury fashion from India. My wife, who also joined the business and helped me co-found it, was far more stylish than I was and really had a future vision of where this could go. Bringing in all the designers, all the categories, launching beauty, launching jewelry. I think that what you begin to see is, as long as the brands are represented properly, and I actually have a question to the panel here, but as long as the brands are represented properly, I think that people can appreciate the value of a designer label or a designer brand and the workmanship that goes into it.
Sure.
The question I have, and sorry to take your limelight here, Sid, but I have a question about where the market is going, the massification, the knockoffs, the H&Ms, the Zaras, etc., or blatant copies. How does luxury in a digital world defend itself, define itself, and really move against this wave?
Sure. So now that we've got nuggets to chew on from all of you, let me toss it back to Siddhant and he can take the conversation forward.
Yeah, so again, I'll maybe let, would you like to answer the question, Payal?
I think since some of us are victims of stuff like that, I think the only answer I have for that is to stay ahead of the game. So you have to create this aspirational luxury and you have to do it much faster. As we all know that now it's fast fashion, which means the time from runway to consumer is much shorter. So you have to just stay ahead of the game. So now instead of having a collection which can be on your site or your, in your shelves for 3 to 6 months, you have to, the shelf life is, I would say 6 weeks. That's what my strategy is.
From a beauty point of
I think in our segment, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. Therefore, it's bound to happen that things are going to get copied. And I think the fact that the consumer has come of age, there are people who, yes, want knockoffs, but there are people who want sheer luxury, and they're ready to pay for it, being such a young country that we are and having the spending capacity. People want that aspiration that, yes, we're going to spend on sheer luxury. And yes, it keeps changing. Instead of changing 6 months, now it is 2 months. But the fact that people who want to buy luxury will spend for it. And that's where you survive. And that's where fashion is headed. To give you premium fabrics, to give you premium cuts, to give you price points that are luxury but affordable luxury, so that you do not go for knockoffs.
You could get stuff of Zara, you can get stuff of H&M, but if you want a Paul Smith suit, and if that's what you appreciate, you're going to go get that. Right? So I think eventually you're going to have to separate the actual luxury consumer, which today in India is just so nascent that we still don't know who the consumer is. Even within tier 1 cities, most people will go and buy Zara, and a lot of them think Zara is luxury. It's not luxury. It's fast fashion. You go in, you buy, you leave. Right? And your suit will die in 6 months. Go buy a Paul Smith suit or a Xenia, and it'll stay with you for 10 years. Right? Buy a Corneliari pair of shoes, you're set. Right? Go to Zara and pick up a pair of shoes, you need another 1, 2 in the same season.
From a beauty point of view, I would say, I think it's very important, if you want to survive, you need to have a concept. So it's going to get copied any which ways. So if you're making something, there are going to be many people who believe in, why reinvent the wheel when it's always been invented. But I think it's very important to believe in innovation, to believe in creating the concept, put your time, efforts into it, and probably associate with brands who actually believe in this. I mean, that's what I believe in very strongly. So from a skincare point of view, the beauty is there are that a skincare product, no matter who's endorsing it, till the time you don't use it, you will never know whether it's right for you. So you have to give it a shot, no matter what happens. And the success lies not in buying it once, the success lies in buying it again. And you will only buy it again if it works on the skin. So I think innovation plays a very important role, creating a concept around what you are saying, the message that a brand is delivering, the commitment that a brand gives. And if a brand can create a social responsibility towards the society, nothing like it. That adds a lot of value. So I feel these are very key factors which are going to be responsible for a success of a brand. And I think these are key things that anybody should look into.
I'll just add to what he said actually. If you look at the beauty segment in particular, the product life cycles are very long. So when you talk about innovation, like what he was saying, when you get that product finally out in the market, it's very, very important to ensure that you educate the consumer. Large-scale advertising just doesn't do the job. I mean, it's especially skincare, I would say. You really need to educate the customer, and when they see value for what the product is. And that's why Korean and Japanese brands are so successful, because they do that. I mean, you don't even know the names of those brands, but they are luxury brands. They're doing very successfully in their own markets. That's actually, and the sad part in India and maybe a few other markets is there is a lot of sites, online, offline, which sell spurious goods, which sell knockoffs, etc., across different segments. And it's the responsibility of brands like maybe exclusively or My Envy Box to ensure that, okay, you've come to our site, that we are genuine and we are educating you with brands which are genuine. And I think that's how you maintain that protection in your domain and ensure that you are becoming a larger player in the luxury segment.
I think curated content and experientials are also extremely important, because if you can see globally and also in India, luxury has always been about, like high product quality and tradition. But nowadays what we've seen also is it's a lot about experience, what the consumer is experiencing, how they can share it on social media. So one thing that could be quite dangerous for luxury brands is to go the mass way in terms of communication. So that's why, for example, for MAC Cosmetics, we have, we communicate globally. We have the same, content communicated globally. So you have like a very good consistency that really create fans and people who love the brand. And I agree with you also, customer education is extremely important. Experiencing the product, learning how to put it, and to just like fall in love with it so that, you will just go back for more.
Well, I was talking to one of the leading designers about these saris, the fake saris that are available all over and sold at 30% of the cost. And what he said was something very interesting. He said, actually, the largest fakes available in the market are mine. And I'm really proud about that, because eventually all those consumers who want to buy fake right now because they can't afford it will eventually convert into, they aspire to get the real thing. So the fakes are actually, or the fakes or the knockoffs are actually expanding my market. It's creating an awareness for it. Like, for example, you take Louis Vuitton. It's got, it's got the maximum number of fakes in the world, and it's probably the largest luxury. The turnover is the highest from any of the other brands. So I think you should just take it as a compliment and know that they're buying this right now because that's what they can afford and that they're aware of it. But eventually they will upgrade themselves into, buying the real luxury product.
Okay, so actually, this question's for Sanjay, because we talked a little bit about curated, lifestyles and how luxury is becoming beyond product. So Sanjay, you've added a lot of categories over the years. What has been the thought behind that, and going forward, how do you see that evolving?
Sorry, just repeat the question again.
So from you've considering luxury is becoming more of a lifestyle and it's becoming beyond just clothing and accessories, how has the journey evolved for exclusively to add categories like beauty, and what are you looking to do in the future?
Sure. I think at the end of the day, luxury consumer ultimately is looking for lifestyle products. They live a certain lifestyle. They aspire to have certain things in their home, not only apparel, of course, shoes, accessories, bags, necklaces, the whole gamut. E-commerce is the beautiful equalizer, and I think that, again, we were fortunate enough to start with credible designers who are genuine in product, their name, that enabled us to then launch other categories. We also got into the home category. I think that that's an area where we had explored. Longer term, I think the biggest opportunity for us that we see is there's a dearth of international brands represented in India. And it's a testament to the long-term commitment of these brands who come over. It takes a long time to educate the consumers. Fortunately, thanks to the digital world, education is happening at a much more rapid pace. But we see the platform becoming very similar to a company called Farfetch. Farfetch essentially curates global boutiques from around the world. We have that opportunity to bring in international brands into India on our platform and really become the central mecca, if you will, for premium and luxury in India, and really opening up the market to many more brands that just don't have the distribution or the opportunities to come into India.
So as we continue to add more and more brands across multiple categories, it will also be interesting to hear, maybe the viewpoint of some of our designers who are adding and diversifying across multiple categories beyond, say, just clothing. So if there are any thoughts on that, would love to hear that. Nikhil? Nikhil, would you like to answer that? Okay. Don't mean to put you on the spot.
Well, as the conversation was led towards the fake and original to this question, I have a correlation here. Is as a designer who is known to be an evening wear designer, I just could not just survive with that only bit. I had to take my label more mass, more forward, and I thought that would work much better with a very sweet spot of pricing. That's, again, very important for every designer to know, the MRPs, which should be affordable by not only ones who believe in luxury, but also the ones who aspire fake. You give something which is in middle point, so just for a couple of thousands more, you would rather choose a original over a fake. And that's something which, as a designer, I'm known to do evening wear. Extensive evening wear, but when I had to come on a platform which was so mass like exclusively.com, I decided to come with a very affordable line, which was not available in any retail stores because that's not my DNA. But I wanted to test waters. I wanted to test the market and what they would accept out of me. And we did an exclusive line for exclusively.com, which was extremely sweet spot when it comes to pricing. The silhouettes were very fuss-free, were very easy. It was very aspirational, not only for Indian audience, but also global audience. It's Touchwood doing extremely well. It obviously takes some time to grow. We launched, I think, in December sometime, and it did take a month to get momentum, but now it's really going really well. So definitely, as an end client, if at all you can afford a Nikhil Thampi, why would you take a Nikhil Thampi fake? So that's something which is a philosophy which I follow, and I don't know if it's right or wrong, but it's working very well for me. So this is something which, that's where you come. I diversified my label from an evening label to a high-pret. That's where the curation of the silhouettes are from day wear to night wear. So when you click on my profile on exclusively, you can get a day to night options, and that's something which is more affordable. And that's how I've diverted, or maybe just deviated from evening wear to more pret wear, and it's doing really well. So I think this is the platform for me. I can reach more audience than just a limited audience.
Well, I think we've already overshot our time. But I think we can open up the floor for a few questions based on the discussion that we've had. And yes?
So you mentioned that exclusively intends on bringing international luxury brands onto the platform. So do you actually think that brands like Chanel and Louis Vuitton would want to come and massify themselves by joining exclusively? Because in a sense, they're actually diluting their brands, right? Because brands always like to stay away from the online market because they feel like it's too mass. So do you see actual luxury brands joining exclusively, international luxury brands?
Sure. So first of all, I think every brand has to make their own brand decisions on where they want to be, which platforms are right for them and which platforms aren't right for them. Many of these brands have a mandate not to sell anywhere online, Hermes, etc. Some brands, however, view the digital medium as a huge opportunity. And I think that those brands who are a little more forward-looking are ready to come online. That all being said, there are already Western brands we've launched on the website. There are some domestic brands that are represented in India who are already selling on our platform. And the reason being is that ultimately, their adjacencies, they're next to other luxury brands. They wouldn't want to be next to a Puma. They wouldn't want to be next to a Nike. They wouldn't want to be next to brands that don't represent that clientele. And so we're fortunate enough to have a platform where a Pyle Single, a Tarun Talyani, a Manish Malhotra, Ramesh Arora are legitimate luxury brands, and the international brands have very much thanked the fact that there are, literally, there's not many places to sell online in India, and we happen to be providing that opportunity for them. So absolutely, and we're extremely excited about the future of where that goes, and ultimately it's the consumer that benefits. It might not be the exact brands which you have in your mind that are luxury, but there are literally hundreds and thousands of brands, and I don't really want to name them until we launch our app, who are lining up to come on board.
Also, just another question. I think you, sir, mentioned that you created a different line, a diffusion line or a more massified line for exclusively. So doesn't that tarnish the image that you'd want to create? You wanted to be luxury and you created a more mass line for exclusively.
Luxury also defines on your fabrics that you use, the finish of it, and how it looks. Does it look expensive? So a luxury can be defined in very different manners. For me, luxury is well-finished garments, luxurious fabrics, but affordable prices. So for me, that defines luxury. Also, a garment which can make you look expensive, can make you look happy, like which makes you happy, is luxury for my client. So the end result for me, it's not the paycheck I get at the month end, but it's a smile on the consumer's face when you step out, looking like what you aspire. That's luxury. And if you pay a particular amount, maybe XYZ or less, which is affordable to your pocket, why not?
Okay, thank you.
We have time for one last question. The mic at the end there.
So I have one question for Payal here. So it's an open question actually. So there are a lot of websites that approach y'all every single day. So what are the credible points you look for when you join hands with any website or any online portal?
Actually, that's a very good question because it kind of answers her question also. As a brand, we look at the aesthetic of the website, what they are going to offer us, who are the other designers who are going to be, what company we're going to keep, what kind of customer service, what kind of an interface, stuff like that to choose the website that we would work with. And I mean, as you know, we are on exclusively.com, and that was the reason that we chose that.
Great. So I think that's it for today. And thank you again, everyone. You know, we have a very esteemed panel. They've taken out time to come and join us and give us their perspective. It was really good to cover the range of discussion we did. So please give them a big hand.